We return for the second to last week of the regular season Schmeat Nation 3 podcast. Even though I'm the worst fantasy player alive, I am your host here. We got Adam Rocket in the booth. Week 13. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Just getting over some sicknesses. All of November has been a bit brutal, but always here for the podcast, man. It's a little bit bittersweet that the season's coming to an end, but it's time to make that playoff push.
It does end way too quickly. In addition to the fact that somehow 2022 is coming to an end, fantasy is also
Yeah.
quickly coming to an end, and that's the worst news. So we'll kick it off the same way we always do. A wacky trade here. I didn't watch any of the afternoon games on Sunday, so I didn't really know what happened to Elijah Mitchell, but I just saw this trade in my inbox. I accepted it and then found out that he got hurt. So pretty wild, but I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy that this trade happened on Monday before the trade could even go through, as Reese was saying to us. But yeah, if only he had waited like another 4 hours, he would have known. But yeah, when a trade like this comes through, you got to take it.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I'm not starting Devin Singletary this week. We'll see if it becomes a factor, but he was sitting on Eddie's bench, and now Eddie has a free spot, so maybe he
Yeah.
wanted to drop him anyway. Schedule's not great, so we'll see how it
hmm
plays out. Kind of a
I
non-factor,
see
but
the rationale behind it because Christian McCaffrey also did come out of the game a little bit with a knee. So there was that. But
the
yeah,
mind, the
it's
thoughts are
unfortunate.
there. It makes
Yeah.
sense, but it happens. Some good
Yeah.
lessons to be learned here. I don't usually trade on Mondays because can't even get your guy, so.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll jump into last week here. Kicking it right off. No surprise. It's my fourth loss in a row. We were just looking at it. November was a tough month. I have not won in November. So thank God ends today or
Yeah.
tomorrow by the time this comes
Fantasy
out.
certainly comes in waves. Yeah. It's
So
tough
here
for
we
you.
go.
I mean, yeah, Josh Jacobs, there just wasn't anything you were going to be able to do against him. Like, Josh Jacobs was a weak winner. Yeah, there's not really much more to say about that. The team did fine, 138 points. Like, that's not something to bat your eye at, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the makings are there to hopefully get me one more win before the season ends. I might even need two. We'll see what happens if everyone's shaken out, but tough week. Jasper's team is pretty dominant though. Even with Lamar Jackson, like he doesn't, his team's kind of selling on him. They had a lot of drop passes in that one, but it's
Mhm.
still not like the Lamar we expect. But he outdid projections, and then Alvin Kamara as well. So Josh Jacobs definitely, went above and beyond the Call of Duty. But this is kind of a point spread that we can see from Jasper because you take points off here and just throw them here on any given week. I guess Adam Thielen did well, but don't need to linger too much. GG to Jasper. Kind of saw this one coming. I think he's got one of the teams that could
Mhm.
be a championship favorite moving in. So
Yeah,
jumping into the next
agreed.
one, it felt on Monday that this one was going to be pretty close with Deontay Johnson and Pat Fryermuth going on Monday, but neither of them even crested the 10-point mark. So Parker takes a 15-point victory over Jamie, 10-2, probably secured the bye at this point, I think. Can't quite remember. I think with Connor's loss.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. And this just goes to show like Parker's team, even without Cooper Cup, it's still his year to lose. Cause like Travis Etienne going out in like the first drive of that game or very early on in that game, like hopefully that's something that doesn't linger and he'll be able to keep that up. But yeah, basically getting two goose eggs and still putting up 147 still has a dominant team in my mind.
Yeah, it's impressive. And then the Zay Jones start from Jamie was great. But he's a juggernaut. He's a
Yeah.
dominant team, so tough to beat him. But a good little rivalry matchup there. I didn't say it was rivalry week again, but it is. Jumping to the next one. Eddie continues his roll now. What is that, 4 in a row?
I think,
Uh,
yeah, that's 4 in a row for Eddie.
yeah, gets a pretty solid win over Seth here. Just a lot of unfortunate from the bottom six, bottom five, can't count, but you know, we both thought this one would be how it be. I like a little lower than what Eddie's been doing, I think, but secures the victory, does all he needs to do. You definitely see
Yeah.
the path that Eddie can take there, especially as I keep dropping games. So
Yeah, it feels bad that Eddie feels bad for the people that need him to be losing games to pick up a win on this week where Patrick Mahomes only gets 20 and then his running backs only combined for just under 13 points. Like, this was definitely a week that he was beatable, and I don't think there's going to be many more like it. So, yeah, good job, Eddie. Way to put a team together eventually.
his team's
Definitely
looking
making things
good.
interesting in the playoff race.
Yeah, he's shaking it up, and that's why it's like so. I feel like early on, I'll be frustrated that I lost like a close game or something. It's like, yeah, you have 13 more, but you drop games pretty quickly in fantasy, so stealing those wins early is what you need. And some good pickups by him. I think 49ers D was in a trade and Justin Tucker is in a trade, so getting some
Mm-hmm.
guys who are pretty reliable. Somehow Baltimore can't get in the end zone, so some
Yeah,
good
for real.
peripheral pieces there. And then kind of the whole year for Seth has just been guys performing when others don't, so pretty
Mm-hmm.
unlucky there. A winnable week at 130, but he was 28 away, so not even close. And then jumping into one that was a kind of a roller coaster, honestly. It felt out of reach
Yeah,
from both sides a couple times, but came down to Monday night and Najee was able to fall into that end zone. So
yeah. Najee Harris just doing the fantasy player's dream. If you get hurt, just getting enough to secure the win and then leaving the game. Like, that's just that you can't ask for anything more on a week to week basis, especially on a Monday night game. Like, yeah, uh,
yeah, pretty
getting
incredible.
20 from the defense as well. That's always a plus. His team just does keep rolling. I think this is the only time Derek Carr will ever put up more than 20 points. So, props to Reeds for streaming him on that week.
Yeah, he definitely needs Justin Fields to come back because the wire's pretty rough. I mean, there's a guy out there you could probably massage into the lineup, but who knows if you want to cast morals aside. So, and then on Brad's side, pretty tough loss. It's kind of been the whole year. I think with the Justin Fields news, all I would say is like you can't really start the Chicago guys that week. Even down to the kicker, the Bears are just pretty fucking bad. But
Yeah,
I call 5.7 from the tight end. You can't ask for too much more. I mean, it's a pretty tough position. He outscored George Kittle, so
yeah,
I guess
exactly.
guess we'll blame it on Cairo Santos. So another win for Reese. I think it's his sixth in a row. Pretty incredible. Quite the
Yeah, he
turnaround
definitely
here.
got
I
hot at the right time.
he sent one of our videos to every single one of the team and it's just gassing them up. So told them the timestamp where we disrespected them and now they've come alive. So good win there. I think he's
Hmm.
secured in playoffs or something. We'll check those later, so no need to hammer. And Adam, my God, who saw this coming? Neither of
Yeah,
us.
just a trap game. I think I said it in the last video. Like, we've seen Kalen's team do this before. He'll throw out one of these, and unfortunately, I was just the team to go up against him. A lot of my guys disappeared, especially going up against him when I had Amon Ra and Jamal Williams and Dak put up, a fairly good amount of points on that Thursday. But just watching Kalen's team rumble all Saturday or Sunday morning, it was tough. Even with Jamar Chase out, like, I think Garrett Wilson within 5 minutes of that game had a touchdown and like 13 points. And from that point on, I pretty much knew that it was just over.
Yeah, the Bears kept losing players, so it's just like going against Garrett Wilson felt pretty bad this week. And then the team really came alive for him, so and he didn't super
Yeah.
need it. Obviously, Kalen will be fighting around in that losers bowl. And then, man, the
Yeah.
Tyler Higbee, what like big brain from Eddie. Has it been 2 weeks since that trade now? I guess he got 8.5, so that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
It's just
But
comes down
he's
to the lack
crazy.
of Matthew Stafford. Like, I thought with Cooper Cup going out that they would rely on Tyler Higbee a lot, but that Perkins guy just like cannot throw the ball. I think they threw the ball like less than 15 times that game, and that's just not enough pie for a tight end position. That's something I wanted to mention is that Zach Ertz injury just like hurts my team so bad. Like, that was just a position that I had an advantage at lock, other than against like Travis Kelsey. And without him, my team just looks so weak. So that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, the 8.9 from Christian McCaffrey, but sometimes you like it for your guys to take the week off and rest
Hmm.
a little bit.
Especially when you go up against the second highest scorer of the week. But
Yeah,
yeah, this is just
that's
one
all you
where
have.
we reset for next week. You know, don't let the loss beat you twice. That's what I say.
I like that. And jumping in here, Max continuing the playoff dreams alive. He's got a really good shot at it now with the upset over Connor. I feel like we had been talking about how we're a little worried about Connor's team and then check the numbers, but I guess the chart is definitely trending down and he gets another 124 here. Obviously a total goose from Darnell Mooney won't happen because he's not playing anymore and all that. So we'll see if
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette can get back in, but a great performance from Max. I mean, had the win scenario really came alive. That's exactly
Yeah.
how he writes it up and needs it, you know?
Max just, he's got a scrappy little team over here, right? They just get enough times to be fighting for that playoff spot. It always feels like Max is hovering around that playoff spot. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he's more than hovering now. He's got a pretty good shot. It's all in his hands, so we'll see where he goes from there.
Yeah.
A pretty good week. That's our rivalry week in the books. I feel like I like that. I'll probably keep that for next year, but people can lend me their thoughts. Did you enjoy the
Yeah.
rivalry week?
I did. I feel like there was a lot of teams that split the rivalry 1-1 this year, but maybe that's just me and Kalen.
Yeah, no, me too, I think. And then I believe Seth beat Eddie because Eddie came out. So yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And Bradley definitely beat Reese because Reese started off pretty
Mhm.
cold. So did everyone? No, because Connor lost twice to
Parker
Max
probably
actually.
won.
Max has Connor's
Yeah.
number.
Yeah. I need to figure that out, dude. Connor's my toughest opponent in this league. If you go and look at the league history.
So there we go. Bump over into the standings. The standings have gotten super tight now. Parker obviously locked up. I guess in theory, no, because he's highest in points found. Okay, so he definitely has the buy locked up because unless he puts up 0 or something crazy, or Connor puts up a bunch, I don't know. I don't need to go into scenarios. That's unnecessary. But Parker Reese, it locked into the buys there. Connor 1 game out. Jasper 1 game out. You 2
Yeah.
games out from there, and then here we go. The 6-6. We got a spicy matchup coming up there, and Eddie chasing at it from below.
Yeah. Man, it's tough, man. It's getting close. In a league that I feel like it just wasn't looking that close early on. It's really coming down to it.
Yeah, I mean, you won 1 game in November, and I won 0, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden,
exactly.
there's probably some great sound bites from the episode we did in the 6-2 tie scenarios. So,
Yeah.
that's how it goes, I guess. And then points for is kind of the same way it's always been. I mean, the top 6 are all right there, and somehow Max is way down here at 7. That's pretty crazy. He's
He's just got
got
it. Like
quite
I
the
said, he
run
just
going.
puts up numbers when he needs to. Oh, another thing, Seth finally going on the road for last week's matchup, and
Oh
definitely
no,
not a
man.
road warrior.
He doesn't like to play anywhere at this point. He just doesn't want to play. I mean, almost 200 more put
Yeah,
against
it's
him,
just unfortunate.
and you feel that he feels that. So,
Hmm.
and yeah, no surprise there. I've now crept up into the top 3, but all these are pretty much the exact same. And as far as fantasy goes, and let's go check
Hmm.
the streaks. Got me and Seth being on some big losers, and then Reese
Couple
and
win
Parker
streaks
and
being put together.
Eddie.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. So the league's really shaken out. I mean, definitely take this time to thank everyone for making it competitive. It's always a good time.
Hmm.
Get a little bit rosy tinted glasses as stuff starts to come to an end. So we'll see
Yeah.
whose season continues in the top bracket and who's will go below. Let's jump into our power rankings. Maybe this is gonna be a long episode. Who knows? It feels like it might be. Oh no, who left that in there? Some rando can start to join. Uh, Not a ton of changes, or I guess one big change. We got Jasper all the way up. I mean, a massive week is going to do that. So some bias there, but then the team looks pretty solid. I have him at 1. I mean, it's definitely a team I would want this weekend moving on with Tyreek Hill and Jacobs. And
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think he does have a dominant team, but for me, Parker has just shown all season long that through injury he can still field a dominant team. So I still have him up there at number one. And then we both had Reese at three there. And then we split on Connor's team. I had Connor below Reese, you had him above.
Yeah, I do. I just feel like last week was a little bit of kind of like an enigma. We'll see. Like I
Mm-hmm.
like his wide receivers, even though they're not like the flashy names. They are pretty consistent and solid moving around. And we'll
Mm-hmm.
see them out there. And then what moves for Reese? What a crazy time to be alive. He's just climbing on up there. And then
Yeah.
I like Eddie's team more than mine at this point. I mean, it's like on paper my team looks great, but I just know that we haven't been able to put it together in ages. I think I was even winning games with very low scores early on, so I don't know if I think it's too inconsistent to get it
Yeah.
going. Eddie's team's been really solid lately.
Mm-hmm. I
I
see
guess
that.
I did outscore him last week, which will be needed for some playoff tiebreakers, but 70 is not a ton in full point double flex.
Yeah, for real.
Hanging in
That could
there.
be 1 week's difference.
And this struggle, I just like the stress and hair pulling and turmoil I put myself through judging the bottom
I know, dude. It's
8
so
to
hard.
12.
You have to move Kalen up after a week like that. But yeah,
Yeah, and
like
then
it's tough for Seth because he has put up big weeks, but he's just faced a lot of big weeks too. It's man, I just feel for him. It's tough.
yeah, I mean there's those go next seasons. I was pretty impressed that I even put videos back in the season that I was like fucking 2-10 because at some point you just don't even want to click that tab on it on
Yeah,
the fantasy app. So some good shakedown. It's fun when you get to the final 3 weeks, the playoff weeks, because you get to see all these guys battle it out as well. It's all just the teams that have kind of had similar themes and they get to duke it
hmm
out. So
yeah.
any more you want to see? Any teams you want to highlight?
Uh nah, I don't think there's too much to be said around here. Yeah,
All right,
I
we'll
say
jump
go
into it.
next.
No shifting in the rankings.
Yeah,
Both went 3 for 3. Um,
I think we both went 3 for 3 last week too. Who
yeah, it's
knows?
been a tough. I'm trying to battle it back. I'm like, I'll make smart decisions and then just you need to call some upsets. I think I just been calling upsets on week where there weren't any, and now we're back to normal fantasy. So
Yeah,
sometimes that's how it be. Jumping on into a really, really good week. I'm super excited about this
yeah.
one.
There's a lot of spicy matchups
We'll pick
this
it up
week.
right here. This is I feel like almost certainly going to be some type of playoff preview there, especially one where Parker's got some bad blood. I mean, just absolutely embarrassed the first time you guys played in week 2.
Yeah,
But since then, Parker has been on an absolute tear. So
yeah. It does feel good being one of the two teams that was able to take him down this year. However, it feels like his team will be playing with a chip on their shoulder this week. So we'll see if it can happen again.
it is just like incredible to make it. Like the team looks pretty solid here. And then you're like, oh, he also has D Hop on the bye. Like
Yeah, and
he's
James
got quite
Conner, like,
the makeup of a pretty solid team. And then obviously Randall Cobb, you slip out. James Conner, yeah, he's good. It's crazy that he had Cooper Cup. You hate to see a juggernaut kind of fall like that. It's been a while since we had someone just
but as
body the
everyone
league.
else in the league, we love to see him lose a Cooper. We love to see a juggernaut bleed.
Yeah, it's good to see. And on your side, I mean, a bounce back week, it feels like could be in the books. I do like the matchups, and I think you're at full force, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I am at full strength. I like a lot of the matchups, but I hate the Mike Evans matchup this week. This is the infamous Bucks versus Saints rivalry. Like Mike Evans could get kicked out of this game. Like there's a thought of benching him this week because he never does anything against Marshawn Lattimore, and that guy just like lives in Mike Evans' head rent free. So it's tough to say. There's no one on my bench who I would or there's no one on my bench who I would play over Mike Evans, but that thought is just in my mind this whole week. Like it feels like that game is just going to be super chippy and low scoring. So it seems
Oh
like it
man.
could be another Chris Godwin game. So unfortunately, that's going to go that way. But yeah, I like the rest of the matchups on my side. I'm a little bit concerned about Christian McCaffrey because of all of his previous injury. That Q popping up as always scary as a fantasy owner, but yeah, hopefully he's fine. Just get some veteran rest, you know?
Yeah, luckily the Seahawks are competing to where, you know, the
Hmm.
49ers aren't even tempted to bench him because if the Hawks weren't there, then there's no one in that division that looks like they could challenge. So
Yeah, exactly.
this one should be really good. It's hard to project because it's like, I mean, Parker's got Van Jefferson in there and Cobb, but the pieces around are
Hmm.
just so good. Oh man, but I guess to make it spicy, I just don't believe it though. I feel like you're gonna win, so I guess I should pick that one. It feels like there's too many pieces that can't put up very much at all.
You say that now, but I did lose to Caitlin last week. I'm also taking myself because, how can I not? But yeah,
You have to.
this
Oh, it
is a
is Randall
questionable one.
Cobb against Chicago though. He does feast there, but I'll stick with it. It feels like the right pick, but maybe that's just the hope that he can be
Yeah,
taken down. We'll
I'm
see.
definitely going into this one with my fingers crossed.
Jumping into probably the only other matchup that isn't like incredibly close in standings, but we got Jamie taking on Jasper here. Jamie has been a little bit of an upset and a trap game, but I mean, Jasper's team on paper and every week has just been so dominant. He's trying to get his name put on that trophy for the first time and might have the roster to do it here.
Yeah, he's definitely put together a pretty good team here, especially with like the ultimate wide receiver twos in Adam Thielen and Brandon Ayuk. Like those guys just seem to get their fair share. Like those are good enough flex spots, and he's got firepower on the rest of his team. So yeah, I like the Bucks. Do you play this week as well? Like I said, it's probably going to be chippy in that game. On Jamie's side, apparently they said some stat about Zay Jones about how he's had like at least 4 or 5 catches in every game this year so far, which seems kind of crazy. But Zay Jones seems like an all right pickup.
Yeah, and I mean against Detroit, a lot of road on Jamie's side, but for the most part, it's pretty favorable matchups. That Detroit Jacksonville game could really unlock, and then
Yeah,
DeAndre Swift might benefit from that as well. We'll see.
I pretty much see every Detroit game this year as a shootout, no matter who they're playing.
Which it's fun to have. I mean, at least you get to see guys
Yeah,
get in the end zone.
exactly.
That's
That
always exciting for
Cincinnati
you.
KC game could also be huge for Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been a theme all year. Like when we're actually consistent with the videos, I feel like I find myself kind of harping on all this a lot. Like it's like I love the team, but I do see why she's 4-8. Like a lot of these guys have just disappeared in certain games, and what could
Hmm.
have been if Russell Wilson didn't have an arm of a 6-year-old? Like it's crazy. Cortland
Yeah,
Sutton, it's like the fact that he's 30th is amazing.
he's so
Watch
much
those
better
games.
than that. Yeah,
Yeah,
he makes crazy catches.
yeah. They look so bad. So I think I'll take Jasper here. I mean, how can I not after putting him at the number one? He just seems unstoppable at this moment, but it would be nice for people in the playoffs if they could see Jasper not put up a game above 150. I think it's been a hot minute since
Yeah, I'm gonna lock in Jasper here too. It's just he's got too much strength on his team to not pick him.
he's got the solid roster. So
Yeah.
jumping into another one, I guess these guys aren't as close, but a little bit of friendly blood there. My God, that was the week anyone knew here. I forgot. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Jesus, the
Brad
flame
definitely playing with a
horizon.
chip on his shoulder. Chance to play spoiler here.
Yeah, you love to see it. I mean, it's pretty unfortunate that this is kind of the week Jamar Chase is back, but sometimes that helps Tyler Boyd to have everyone come back in, but having to
Hmm.
start Zonovan Knight isn't great either. I guess he has quite a lot of bye
Yeah, does he have
weeks.
guys on bye?
Yeah,
Oh,
he
I
has
guess he's got
Rashad White,
Marquise
who's
Brown.
pretty good.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if he actually does go with Zonovan Knight. That seems like the kind of thing where he played last week and then they just like don't play him at all next week.
Yeah, I don't even
Uh
know. I don't even remember him in the game, but maybe I wasn't paying attention because the Bears were just trash.
yeah, this could be an interesting week here for Brad. Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown going up against Tennessee. That could yield anything.
That is
But yeah,
100% going to yield a lot. AJ Brown, he's been like tweeting and talking about like people will tweet like, wow, imagine if Tennessee had like an AJ Brown caliber receiver, and he's retweeting it like this guy's fucking pissed.
Oh shit, yeah, it's the revenge game.
It's the
Holy shit.
revenge game. He's gonna be furious.
Yeah,
That suddenly does
that's
flip
right.
the
I didn't
twist
even
because
think about it.
15.5 seems, I would take the over. That seems low. And if he's doing well,
Yeah.
Jalen's doing well. Oh man, that did make it a little spicy actually. Because he can easily put up the 15 he needs to theoretically be in running with Eddie, but also at the same time, like Miami's so easy to kind of shred up in the run, and Diva likes to do that, and then he's obviously
hmm
out running routes. So
Yeah, and Cleveland could be showing off, he who shall not be named against Houston.
yeah,
And
we'll
Amari
see.
Cooper could have a big
Oh,
game.
this one made
But
it tough. I felt like going in, I was just a lock to pick Eddie. It might
yeah,
be
I'll lock
coaching
mine
too.
in first. I'm definitely taking Brad here. I think he's gonna play spoiler. Brad's been spicy all year. I'm gonna ride him one more time.
Oh man, it feels like too much copium if I'll take Brad. So I'll take the happiness hedge and I'll take Eddie here and see if I can't climb back into the rankings. And if Brad can spoiler, then that's slightly better for me. Jumping into the next one, we got Connor and Reese. This one is also a huge matchup.
Yeah, this is for the bye, pretty much.
Yeah, the kind of the fate is in the hands here. Connor trying to climb back in the standings,
It
and
was spicy last time too. Look at that previous matchup.
oh my God, yeah, the 2 point spread. One of Connor's 0-2 starts and just lost for the first time since. Oh no, never mind. Disregard that. But this one should be good. I mean, absolutely, again, another one of these playoff previews that we're so lucky to see. We'll see if it'll be close this time. ESPN's not predicting that. They kind of have our view of Reese's team in mind though, and he's been upsetting that all year.
hmm Yeah, I mean, you just go down the list and look at the average points scored of all of Connor's guys, and it's just so insane. And I do kind of like the double stacking the Kansas City wide receivers here. I feel like that could be nutty this week.
I think we all want it to be. That one's definitely that prime time in the afternoon style game, but some these games always seem to disappoint. Like hopefully it doesn't though. I don't think either of these teams. I mean, Cincinnati's defense is probably better in Kansas City, but it's Mahomes throwing the ball, so I do agree with you there.
Yeah, who
I feel
knows,
like
man?
it's just like, yeah, Reese's team. It's like all the same guys, right? But earlier in the year, I was like, it's just kind of gross, and now it's just like that's a good team, and that's just kind of how fantasy works. So it's
I
funny
like.
to
I
flop
still
like
just
that.
don't like. I still just don't see it. Like, obviously, he's won. What is it? 6 games in a row. So obviously, he has a good team. But it's like I don't look at Zeke and Najee and be like, damn, man, those are a solid 1-2 duo. It's like Justin Fields popping off for 40 points and Stephon Diggs. And then George Kittle's had a couple of games, but
And I
I don't
like
know. I
Kittle
just
this week.
don't see it. I'm going to take Connor here. I can't believe in Reese's team. I think Connor takes the bye back this week.
Oh man. All right, there we go. I'll go with Reese then. I feel like that's just how it's been of late. I mean, he's got second longest win streak in the league, right? Or is it the longest?
It's the longest, yeah.
The longest win streak in the league. Maybe you don't keep that
Although
up.
I think this year Connor had the longest at 8. So
Oh man. Yeah, he went on a dominant tear there. It's just like why not keep it going? He's got some good matchups
exactly.
there.
Like I said, he's won 6 in a row. He's got a good team. It's just like my brain can't put it together.
This could be just a monster week from Ramondre Stevenson though, so I guess we'll see that one. So yeah, lock and Reese. And jumping in, this is a pretty solid matchup as well. 2, 3, and 9 teams going at it, trying to give themselves and just staying away from that bottom game in the losers bracket is always there. I assume Seth might not be checking before Wednesdays come, but I assume he'll get a QB in there and not just start no one. Then this one will be a pretty close one. Granted, the
Did he pick
wire's not
someone up
great.
or?
No, he doesn't have anyone at this moment, but he's got some guys he can drop,
Oh,
or at least one of them.
yeah. Yeah, for real.
But man, with
Uh,
Jamar Chase coming back into that matchup, both these guys could go off. This feels like it could just be another massive week from Kalen because Miami's a great team to play against as a QB too for Jimmy.
yeah, and with Mike White sort of taken over that role of QB as a gunslinger for the Jets. I see Garrett Wilson going off again too, and CeeDee Lamb. I mean, he's been there all year, and yeah,
Yeah, man, the wide
Jimmy
receivers on
G is
Kalen's
just
side.
solid. Yeah,
Holy cow. That is pretty incredible. He's got himself a lineup.
they do look good.
It's one of those things where you're like, thank God he's not, in playoff running because he got Chase back and could
Yeah,
easily go on a run now for the final 5 weeks of scoring. But and with that said, I think I will take Kalen. His team just looks
okay, I will
pretty
too.
goddamn
I've
dominant.
picked
Yeah.
teams that don't have a quarterback in before, and it has not gone well.
They don't have a QB because the decisions you have to make from the wire are so vicious.
Yeah.
Oh man. And it feels bad, but we're out of November, so here we go into the matchup of the week.
It's time to shake your ass.
Jumping in after dropping four, a tale of two cities here. I've lost 4 in a row, and Max has strung together quite a few wins in the last 5 weeks. ESPN's giving me way too high of a line. This is the one where if you're in Vegas, you're betting Max because you know what the losers can put up. But in theory, my team looks like it should have a solid week, but it has not felt like that. And just the sadness and despair I've felt in the month of November looking at this league is insane. My projected playoff chance has gone from 90 something to 60, and now it's basically 50-50 because I think if Max wins this one, he writes his own destiny here, and then obviously Eddie is also
Yeah.
around in that mix, so it's quite a game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's definitely a must win for you. And they've been saying it his entire career. Is Justin Herbert clutch? Can he be clutch for you? Is the question. When it comes to clinching playoffs, he wasn't able to do it last year in that tie against Vegas. Will he
Yeah,
do it for your team,
they're
though?
gonna start
Max
doing
doesn't have a
timeouts.
defense in right now, but if you scroll down and look at his defense, I absolutely love the play that's coming. The Saints,
I can't
dude.
believe they're projected 3.7. I feel like they
I
always
know.
play Buccaneers pretty well. Yeah, that's a pretty good pick.
This
I mean,
is
he's gonna
that's a
hedge himself
smash
with
pick.
Tom Brady. Unless he
Yeah,
wants to get
exactly.
wild with Kirk Cousins against the Jets. There's some decisions to be made there, but there's always a chance the decision never gets made. And sometimes
That's
we hope
true.
for that.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much to say around this. Like, you obviously have the better built team, but the way that they've been playing recently, I mean, it could go either way almost.
And
Um,
it's just Justin Jefferson has been like, it would be
yeah.
so on the nose if he brings the end of my fantasy
Oh,
season.
yeah. I
This
feel
guy
like he is your
bodies me.
nemesis.
He bodies me all the time, and just thankfully it's not against the Bears because he bodies me against the Bears. I guess I'm rooting for Sauce Gardner this week, and I mean I'm pretty sure Kelsey like clutched up man mode in the playoffs, even though they ended up losing that in the Cincy playoffs. So yeah, it's just like there's I don't know. It's not great. I mean, I'll pick myself because you have to, but I think I've picked myself all year and it's only worked out half the time. And
Oh, man. I
TB12 as
do
well.
really want to take Max here, but I don't think that I have the stones for it.
You
I
were
think I
trying
have
to
to take you
curse
as
me.
well.
That's why I'm taking Max. It should be a good one. A lot of eyes on this one.
Yeah,
Eddie will be
for sure.
watching intently here. I think he needs yeah, because I'd have 7 wins and I have a little bit of an edge on the points. So he needs me to lose here or put up like 50 next week. So we'll see
Yeah.
what happens. It's a crazy week.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's coming down to this. This is just, yeah.
Who
I
would have
wouldn't have
thought
it any other way.
we were so
I'm sure you
cocky
would.
early on? So cocky in the early days. And now it all comes to an end. So week
Yeah.
13 and playoffs start now for me. So here
Yep.
we go.
It's must win games from now on.
I like 2 weeks ago, I was just so mad and like I hate fantasy football. And then this last week, I was just kind of in the like acceptance phase of grief, and now it's just like now I'm in the false hope sense of the cycle where I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I can still make the
Yeah,
team's still good.
yeah, you still got a 67% chance to make playoffs. You're good.
Yeah,
That's
for
2 out
real.
of 3 worlds.
Yeah, that's easy mode. So we'll
Yeah.
see. Any final words for week 13?
Just good luck to everyone out there, and thanks for a good season so far. It's been a ton of fun as always.
Here we go. Love to see it. We'll see y'all next week. Final episode of the regular season. Might have something special in there. I've been theorizing in the shower of ways we can kind of cap off the season. So we'll definitely have a guest, if nothing else. Maybe a few. We'll see. Good luck, Schmeat Nation. We'll see you out there.